Pivac the right guy to be coaching Wales? Interesting question. Social media, I think, is heaping more pressure on Wayne Pivac, and to a certain extent the mainstream media, but I don't think the Welsh Union are going to sack him, 9 months into his coaching tenure. But the results do not lie. Out of 9 games played, 2 wins. That's not a good record for Wales, a team that we expect on a year will win 60 to 70% of their games. They're now losing 60 to 70% of their games, if we're to go by that. If they win their next game, that's 3 out of 10. That's a 70% loss ratio to 30% win ratio. So their form has completely nosedived, and you have to scratch your head and wonder why. What's caused this? Is it the coaching change? Is it the core leadership group? Is that aging? Alan Wynne-Jones is obviously in the autumn of his career now. Excuse the pun. Is it the autumn international format this year? Are they not adapting well to it? Is it the length of time between the lockdown in March and the resumption of play in September, when clubs were allowed to start training and playing again? Is it that shutdown in play where they weren't training, not playing games, no summer international tours? Has that had an impact? Quite possibly. The financial situation off the field with Wales is well documented and goes back years. Has that now reached a point where that really is affecting the players off the field and their focus and their concern about, okay, at the end of this season, will I have a contract? Will I have a club to play for next season? And that is an ongoing concern that was going into the World Cup. Alan Wynne-Jones on the record saying we don't know if we're going to have clubs to play for when this World Cup ends. That is a concern. The Rob Howley situation, I'm going to put it in there because obviously on the eve of the World Cup in Japan, he was sent home in disgrace, sacked, suspended from coaching, found to have breached betting rules. How much did the playing group and the other coaches at the time know? And the Welsh Union know about the allegations against him when they were actually proven? Did that blindside them, or were they aware of it? That's something else to consider. And the whole clear out of coaching, like Sean Edwards not retained. Their defence does not look as good without Sean Edwards' hand at the helm as defence coach. Stephen Jones is the only leftover from the Gatland era, and he was only there for a short time as a stopgap until Wayne Pivac came in. He was meant to be part of Wayne Pivac's coaching staff anyway. He's the only hang-on from the Gatland era in a major coaching position as an assistant to Pivac. Howley gone in disgrace. Sean Edwards gone. So, has there been too much of a clear out in the backroom staff? It's a question mark. I don't think the Welsh Union sack him. Not yet. I think they'll give him another 12 to 18 months to remedy the situation. I think the Six Nations, is then they've got to prepare themselves for the Six Nations. I think their next goal is just to win the next game. Out of the next 5 games, win 3 of them. You can do that. I think, they can start building momentum again and being a pain in the arse for opposition and being a difficult team to play against again. The confidence is clearly low in the playing group. And, Warren Gatland dominated, the coaching setup for so long. He was there for so long. Most of these players, until the Six Nations this year, had only played their international rugby. In fact, all the players had only played their international rugby for Warren Gatland. Some of them, I think Alan Wynne-Jones may be an exception, but I think most of that Welsh squad had only ever played for one international coach. Because of the Lions as well. Warren Gatland being Lions coach for several tours. Again, not having another coach at international or test level, that's had an impact. Wayne Pivac is a different man. He's got a different style of play. And yes, some of the players, Scarlets-based players, would have played under him at the Netherlands, but at the same time, not at test level, with different teammates and different combinations that they wouldn't be used to. So there is a bedding in period. It doesn't always go well. I will say this. Eddie Jones has been under pressure at various times as England coach. You could look at, Gregor Townsend at Scotland. He's been under a lot of pressure with some in different form and in different performances. And there's been a lot of media speculation about his long-term future with Scotland and the Finn Russell situation. So Wayne Pivac is not the only coach to be under pressure. Look at the All Blacks post Steve Hansen. Their form has been up and down as well. Every team goes through these troughs and ups and downs, but hopefully, fingers crossed, let's get through the rest of this, autumn series, which is obviously they're not traditional autumn series against the Southern Hemisphere nations. It's a different format, and I think that could also have an impact on the results as well. Playing more games in the autumn than they normally would, not having a summer tour to blood new players and assess combinations. I think that's had an impact on the results as well, having a disrupted international calendar. But at the same time, I think next year will be the telling year whether Wayne Pivac is the right choice for Wales, because this has been so disrupted. Next year should be a reasonably normal international calendar, a reasonably return to normal in the sense of playing season, with a few alterations, but they should be getting back to some kind of normality, and fans, fingers crossed, should be allowed into stadiums soon. And when that happens, that will also have an impact, because I think with the Welsh not playing at the Principality, that's having an impact, and not playing in front of fans, and the Welsh are a team that does feed off the crowd and the atmosphere, be it if they're an away game and they're being booed and the home fans for the opposition are getting behind their team. That actually, I think, motivates Wales when they're playing in front of their home fans, packed, what I used to call the Millennium Stadium, which obviously was Principality Stadium for sponsorship reasons. When they're playing at home in Cardiff, in the Principality, in front of a packed arena with the roof closed, it has an impact. They're not playing at the Principality at the moment because of it being used as a field hospital. I think that is also having an impact, playing on a stadium that they wouldn't normally play at for an international. And yes, because they are a Tier 1 nation, I think the media speculation about Wayne Pivac's position is going to be there. I think it's a bit unfair with the disruption this year's had. I think some teams have adapted better to the post-lockdown return to play. Other teams, not so much. And you could say the All Blacks and Wales and Scotland haven't hit full stride. Wales are not the only team to be going through a dip in form, or a surprise defeat, or a poor in form, but I think their poor in form predates COVID. I think the coaching change has had a massive shock to the Welsh players' systems, and they're adapting to his coaching methods, and he's adapting to their playing style, and they need to find a compromise. But I think the Welsh Rugby Union will give him a good 12 to 18 months. If this time next year, and we're post-autumn internationals, and it hasn't been a good 12 months, yeah, we could be having this conversation, but looking at it from a time where he's been in charge for 2 full international cycles, then we could have this debate and a more serious thing going, yeah, he could be on the way out. But I think if the Welsh Rugby Union were to sever ties now or to sack him, it's not going to happen. Next year, I think it's more likely to happen if this poor run of form continues. So let's say it's 5 wins out of 18 games, for example, this time next year. Then yes, we could be looking at Pivac on the way out, but I don't think it happens. But is he the right guy to go forward? I'll leave that to the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.